Sweet Spirit, may I trust the spiritual process of this path. May I step out of this story to observe and love all of me as I move into a deeper awareness of my heart today. And may I allow you to carry me through all that appears to be less than love. Every day I ask, what is your will for me today? I know and absolutely believe and affirm that I am here to remember more and more, again and again. So be it. Amen. Join with me in blessing our children everywhere on the planet. We love you. We bless you. We truly appreciate you just the way you are, and we behold the Christ in you. Good morning. I'm Anastasia, and on behalf of Unity in the Olympics in Port Angeles, I welcome you to our Sunday celebration service. Today, our building is closed to gatherings, but our hearts and minds are ever open to share love and light with you. We welcome you wherever you are, and we thank you for joining us for our virtual service on Facebook and YouTube. There is only one power and one presence in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. The Daily Word is a bi-monthly publication by Unity Worldwide Ministries in Unity Village, Missouri. With the subscribers from around the world, the Daily Word contains heart-centered articles, daily thoughts, and affirmations to comfort and guide us along our spiritual journey. Today's daily word is will. Spiritual understanding guides my will. Each day, I use my will to make decisions, big and small, that affect the quality and direction of my life. Through the use of my human will, I may make choices out of fear or a sense of lack, or I may be driven by my desire for convenience, comfort, or the pleasures of the moment. The use of my spiritual will, however, directs my choices toward a greater awareness of my divine nature. As I grow spiritually, I use my will to shine my Christ light even more brightly. I grow in willingness to co-create with God as I release my willfulness to do everything on my own. As I live more intentionally from my divinity, the light of spiritual understanding dawns within me and directs my will. I hereby command you, be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened or dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. From Joshua 1, verse 9. Spiritual understanding guides my will.
So open your heart and listen. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. So open your heart and listen. So open your heart and listen. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome.
Today, our guest speaker is Tim West, and his lesson title is Are We There Yet? Tim writes in his words, "One of the memories that resonates through my heart and mind when thinking about Father's Day is traveling to different places on vacation in the family panel station wagon as a child. During the long hauls across the country, one of the phrases that would eventually come out from one of our mouths is, 'Are we there yet?' In current times, how do we know where this experience is taking us? And how will it look when it's finally over? How long does anything really take? And is anything ever really over?" Originally, the COVID-19 precautions were to run approximately 40 days. 40 days has come and gone. It seems that changes to our lifestyles are quickening. What will be the new state of normal that we need to vision and move toward? Are we there yet? Tim began his spiritual journey as a Unity student of Truth in January 2006 when he discovered a brochure about the Unity Center of Light in Collin County, Texas. Since his association with Unity, Tim has followed his passions as a Unity prayer chaplain, as well as a youth and family ministry director. In addition to the Unity Center of Light, Tim has been of sacred service to Unity Spiritual Life Center in Oklahoma City and Unity Spiritual Center of Denton, Texas. Tim joined Unity in the Olympics as a member in November 2015, and he continues on his path of being. Tim is currently the administrator for Unity in the Olympics while assisting with the positioning of the next right and perfect minister. And so we welcome Tim.
Thank you very much, Anastasia. I truly, 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 truly appreciate you. Truly, truly, truly appreciate you. You are my heart family. I love you so much. And you might recognize this is a little bit different than the other day. And last week, everything changes all the time. All the time. Last week I was wearing a white shirt, but it had print all over it. Was preparing for the kids camp, which is called The Wisdom of Us, and was getting in the mindset to bring forth all those divine ideas that needed to occur for what was yet to come. But I wanted to start out with gratitude. A lot of gratitude for the way everything has been magically, mysteriously coming together, especially in my life. And I would like to first start out by thanking you, Donna, for your beautiful talk and meditation. I was having a little bit of a problem with Father's Day, and I had a little bit come through coming up with this talk title, as well as picking out a Father's Day card, which is a story of its own. But I wanted to thank the Toastmasters out there that are watching it today that realize this is the second half of a story. That was the story of yesterday. So I wanted to start with that with a little bit of gratitude. And I wanted to also thank all of our church community for pulling together in this time of change. In this time of change, when everything seems to be a disarray, holding on to their truths and practicing their spiritual principles. Now I say that because after last week, I discovered I wasn't practicing all of my spiritual tools that I have brought into my awareness. And I sat there and reflected for a few moments and went, oh my gosh, all y'all are my teachers. All y'all. And I had to remember that, being part of being in this world, but not of it. Being in this world and not of it. So I want to go back a little bit and tell you about my experience. And that's the only way I know life. That's the only way I know how to live. And to convey my message that I live and honor that I lived through you and because of you, that I learned a lesson last week. And it started out with the meditation. After we recorded the meditation, we drove away from here, and I immediately saw the vision Donna created in that meditation. And I thought of this beautiful place to meditate. And I thought of a song that brought me the comfort of home to bring with me in my mind's eye. And that song was by a friend of ours, Wiley. And the song was, "You Are Welcome Here." So today's talk, we started out with that. So I'd like to pick up from where we left off. And as I went and did my God walk, some of the things that we teach our uniteens to do, and to sit there in the presence of the divine, what would I ask him? What would I ask my Father? And here's one of the reasons why I was having a little problem with this whole Father's Day thing to begin with, because I was having a little bit of a hard time speaking to my Father. And I want to say I was having a little bit of a hard time, and it's because of what life had occurred before of us. And I couldn't get over the recent past. The recent past, the change that came up that was so unlike him that I could not be in that relationship. I could not be in his world because of my decision of how I accepted the last part of our relationship in this world. And I couldn't look beyond it. I couldn't look beyond that message, even though I wanted to give thanks for all the expressions of my dad. But the only expressions that were coming through to me were kind of like, had many messages in them. I did one for the Toastmasters group, and I kind of make a joke with, you have to look before you leap. And I made reference to it as in a story that my father used to take us whenever someone was born to the hospital. And I remember driving along in a panel station wagon. And we would go up to the window and we'd get to greet that new life into the world. Now, if you realize what's actually going on is mom, who looks like a princess in a castle holding a baby, is going to be there for a while. And my father down below has 4 or 5 kids to tend to, drives us around afterwards. And I have a story that's called Look Before You Pee or Look Before You Leap that I use when I get together for family gatherings and want to share stories. Because it was my father got out of the car, and one of the things that was playing the whole week during Roger's birth, or another one of those road trip stories of when we left someone at a gas station. At Roger's birth, we went to see the movie Yours, Mine, and Ours. Does everybody remember that movie? Henry Fonda and Lucille Ball, where they had to take this world out here from this redhead and blend it with this world over here of this Navy sailor. Okay, so you've got 2 different cultures going on, and they were trying to blend it together. Well, my dad was just trying to keep peace and harmony in ours, and he would take us and we'd drive for a while, which used to get us to sleep, but he'd take us to a drive-in movie theater. So I used that kind of like as an icebreaker story last week. Oh, you wanted the message? Well, he got it to go to the bathroom and get us snacks, and lo and behold, it's Friday night, and on Friday nights, we weren't aware, even though we were in the same neighborhood, that they started showing R-rated movies after a certain time, and we go visit, mom at the hospital, and we get there up to Thursday, and it's still Yours, Mine, and Ours. So if we missed half of it, we could see the other half there. In fact, great movie, recommended. I think I know all the lines because they were embedded on me from that history. Anyway, to make my rambling to make sense to everyone, since I'm just so worked up after getting off the kids camp experience, it's a reflection. But when you reflect back to something like that, you see a couple different stories. Well, I see the police showing up because we're all in there in a car. When Dad gets out of the bathroom, we're all locked into a car, those who are there, and I think Rick was watching us. And I guess the ticket taker came over, and they were trying to protect us and point out to my father that it's inappropriate to bring kids to a R-rated movie. It was okay to speak up. We didn't mind it back then. Don't bring your kids, especially in our own neighborhood, to an R-rated movie. And the officer that showed up, I believe, was actually Larry Parks, which is a family friend. And so you see my dad outside the car, and you're like, Dad, why do we have to leave the movie right now? We love the movie, and we were appreciating our family time, and go to find out that it was because it was inappropriate. Well, the stories that I was going to tell were inappropriate for today, so I tried to rethink everything and look past it. And why I was having a problem telling stories is a story that was presented to me a long time ago about a person that we all know. And so that is a unit of measure. So that's kind of how I decided to tie in today's lesson. Are we there yet? Where is there? New questions are coming out because we're having to do things differently. First of all, we need to know where there is. Okay? If you asked me after last week, am I there yet? And if it was truly about the first thing I said this talk was going to be about, am I there with that relationship with my father? Am I back to that original strengthhold that we had as a child when we talk about anything when we go fishing? No. But we're both in different places in our life. Can we accept each other where we are now? I'm going to say yes. So for lesson number 1, can you do a spiritual practice and it change your life? Yes, it can. Because I didn't realize that my dad had not left yet. One of those ill wills that I placed upon myself, going, they went fishing again and they didn't invite me. That was my thought and my perception was, we know you can't travel. We're thinking of you. And I talked to my dad on Father's Day. And it was really nice because what we did finally end up discovering we could do is talk about the things that we do have in common. such as our haircuts, having to do a buzz cut, which brought up another story. So I just came off the kids' camp, and just like kids' camp, I wanted my time to make the most impactful message that there is out there. And yet, there was so much that went on, I went into a place of overwhelm. So I went on a little off balance. And I had to go back to the thought that came through when Donna was speaking of the Mother's Day message, but it was the scripture in there. It says, I have taught you the way of wisdom, and I have led you in the path of uprightness. Uprightness. So got all these messages rushing into me, and I just came out of kids camp, and the theme of the month has been well-being. Well-being. And we all describe this period right now of well-being a little bit differently from our different perspectives and from our different positions all around the planet. And all of our different experiences and luggage that comes behind us and that comes with us, and all the things that we see yet before us. Before us. Before us. Okay. So this whole year has been about vision. I had to look over that situation with my father, which I explained. I should probably explain it to you since a lot of you weren't at the Toastmasters talk. But we hit a roadblock, which I called the 4 Ds. And the 4 Ds was basically dis-ease in our situation, based on divorce, okay, being the first D, and drinking. And I had to say that divorce was actually both of ours. And drinking, I'm going to have to say now that drinking was both of ours. And disassociation, you know what? We both chose that. And death. Now, Donna in her first one said, strengthened after guidance, wisdom, and patience, that she pulled out of the daily word. I just pulled out the word wisdom because I just came off of the camp, the wisdom of us. So those are 4 things that we see in the ideal Father's Day card. Now, I get a lot of my messages from spirit, from visual things that come to me when I'm out in being in the presence of God. In it. Not of it. In it. So I see visual signs that come to me all the time. And so what did I have to do for Father's Day? First, I had to get past the thought that I didn't have to pick out the perfect card. I didn't have to pick out the perfect card because perfection's already been outlined in my mind. How should things go is pretty much outlined in my mind. Well, the cards out there are like written for Jesus. No offense, but an ideal picture of something that, we have heard stories of, but we haven't yet come into that physical expression of it. We haven't come into it. And you know what? I think we have in each and every relationship that we come into, because we get to choose how to write the card. So you had to approach it a little bit differently. So anyway, it was because I was trying to fit my father into that Father's Day blessing. And I finally could do it with strength, guidance, wisdom, and patience. He had all those things. But what I was seeing, the wall I built, was those 4 Ds. And I got the 4 Ds kind of because I studied marketing. How did that get into me? What was that distribution? Well, it was a D. The disease in me that built the wall was those 4 commonalities. Those 4 commonalities that we're both probably afraid to talk about. Drinking, I went through a period of drinking when I went through my divorce. I get that. Divorce itself, another sign of separation, when you know somewhere in there that that person is somehow connected to you still to this day connected to you. Disassociation, an action that we do. One of the things that I learned from the kids camp is they want to be associated. They want to be a part of that which is for a better good. That's one of the things when I looked at my relationship with my father, I looked at it from my brother's perspective too, because we had conversations like, I wouldn't have done it that way. If I were dad, I wouldn't have done it that way. And we get to make those choices when we get older and become a parent that we can make a difference. We can make a difference. And I discovered that with those kids because they look at things so differently. I know that the leadership that we have right now, and including myself, is we look at each word, because in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was of God. But before the words, it had to be assembled in a way that it was easy to understand. So it started out with some kind of mental picture, some kind of caveman message on the wall that we started adding the meaning to it. We choose the meaning that goes into things. So we choose the meanings of how we talk about our unification with one another, or how we can get the message to the other in order for it to have a common understanding, so that we can create community. So I got past that. And I wanted to start out with gratitude today. Now let's talk about that wisdom of us. I am grateful for each and every one of you. Okay? I realize, and I have discovered by going to Toastmasters, I use the word I a lot. I this, I that. I've been coached. I've been mentored into getting a new understanding of that. But it's the first layering. I always have this preconceived, it's not really words inside of me, but it's mind, idea, expression, action. So many times we get mind, idea, action, description, and no moving forward. So mind, idea, action, expression. My thought patterns lately is that in me, through me, as me, we all start out the world in that first 40 days, that first 40 first period of life, being a sponge, taking everything in. Okay, kind of like, me up to 40. I'm just a sponge, absorbing everything, being a giant child. Okay, idea is now it's coming through you and it is settling in you in different places, you're applying it to whatever was the past or processing or whatever may yet to come. And expression, well, that's, after you run it through the channels a couple times, purify it, make it the wisdom, understand it as your highest truth, you pass that on, the residue. I think what was going on in my relationship is that top part of the residue, all y'all asked me to do this for you, and I had a little resistance to it. But you know what? It's because you see me in a higher place, or you wish at least to pull me up to your level. I am so grateful. I see all y'all as teachers. So everything out there has a message to it. Yours, mine, ours. So we take that now into the present moment. and you apply the lessons that you've learned from the past, and you come up with a new discovery every day, but you also come up with what you believe our foundation started out to be and where your expectation is of where you think we should be going. I do that. You do that. We all do that on this human life form. Okay? But it's really learning you that's learning me that gets us there also. There's only so much textbook reading we can do. We have to be that expression. So I went into this kids camp saying it's the wisdom of us and getting a whole new understanding of what us is. I've been having this little mantra come through me over and over again. It's gee, it's us. But it's every time I look into a situation, how do I see myself in it? And I think that's what the biggest upset that came out of me in this last week. How do I see myself in it? What is my response, my re-entry? If I could reposition myself again, how do you want to see me show up? How do you want to show up? Can you be in this world but not of it? Can you forgive or open up that heart space so new things can come through? Can you stay in connection with all that past that you have, that legacy and that history of that base of your wisdom, and keep it, but allow it to sail through to being the new truth of your being? Are you willing to allow that to come through? There's a lot of potential out there right now. And most of that potential is you. So one of the biggest lessons I've learned in this experience that you've asked me to participate in is how to turn that me upside down into a we. How can we all get past the I's and discover that Black lives matter, gay lives matter, your life matters, each and every single one of you, all of us. Gee, it's us. Life matters. The wisdom of us is it is us. So let's go ask the universe the questions we've been longing to ask. I've been trying to get a hold of my friend and just to ask to use her name and permission for a valuable lesson that I learned. What's the story of us? If we could vision what Martin Luther King or Andy Warhol started, what would that picture be if we came out of this tomorrow in well-being? We, with both of the eyes in the upright position as one. So join me, if you would, into this meditation supported by all of the like minds in the universe and the heart souls that we have connected in this week that we have just gone through. And understand the importance of each in the composition of the wisdom that will save us all, putting that prophecy into the hands of those that can be the beholder of us. see it through and see it true. So I start out with a prayer. And I say, Sweet Spirit, heal what needs to be healed. Reveal what needs to be revealed. Lead me where you need me. And speak in me, through me, and as me the words we need to hear. And now I allow you to walk with me into the lush surroundings of the substance of life, through the forest of our imagination. And let's go back to that place where we can rest on that bench and comfortably know the answers to all those questions of what we had in the beginning, so we can allow the wisdom to come through. Into the infinite posterity of life, growing and rooting deeper into the expansiveness of the oneness of wisdom. As we're grateful that we've opened up our heart space so that we can be that expression. So we can be that one power, in that one presence, in that one voice in the universe. Even as we remain silent, covered with our masks, our hands over our mouths, with our hearts, we can project the vision of us, the wisdom of us, as we're coming to be, coming more. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all the children that out there that have fed me the messages through the universe. And all the children still in connection. You, me, we, my black friends, my white friends, my Hispanic friends, you, anyone that's suffering, know there's a difference. Choose well. Amen.
Thank you, Tim, for that inspiring message and moving meditation. Sending you great big hugs.
Even though I'm sitting right over here.
And please join me in saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we have also forgiven our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from error. For yours is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you in advance for sharing your tithes, gifts, and offerings with us this week. Let us take a moment to hold the thought of your gift in mind and join me in blessing our gifts together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love. Please send your gift by mail or go to our website at www.unityintheolympics.org and click on the yellow Donate button to tithe by credit card or PayPal. And now use your imagination to join us in our closing circle. We gather here holding hands and standing close because we are safe in the powerful sacred space of divine mind. Hold in mind the loving thought of a friend or loved one. See them in the presence. Feel them, behold them as whole, perfect and complete. As we bring to life James Dillett Freeman's prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. The help of God flows through us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is truly well.
Peace that was dead to be.
Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you soon. Divine love prevails. Divine love prevails. Divine love prevails.